Hi everybody, this is an updated / corrected video about how to process narrowband data with a colour camera in AstroPixel Processor and Photoshop. So you might be asking, why is Stacey doing this video again? Well, it came to my attention that I'd done something wrong. Thanks Adam for pointing that out, and I don't want to be giving bad information out to everybody, and I want you to get the best results you possibly can. So, and it's not just that, but there aren't many, well, there are people doing tutorials on AstroPixel Processor, but there, there's not as many as other programs such as PixInsight or whatever, and therefore I have a responsibility to myself and to others to get things right. So, the mistake has been spotted, I have to redo the video, and that's okay. So again, I'm going to work on my data from back in September. I found it lurking on my hard drive. I've got 7 frames of 300 seconds in length, so 35 minutes total. They were captured with my Hypercam 183C Pro, which is the fan-cooled version, and I used a 7nm Baader H-alpha filter to capture the HA in the nebula. So while loading my lights, here's the 7 frames. I'm also going to load in a master flat and a master dark. Master flat. Dark. So before we go any further, I'm now going to jump back to the raw fits tab, and here's where I made a mistake last time. So I got this right. My Baader matrix on the 183C is RGB. Now the algorithm, adaptive area disk, that is great for when you're doing normal RGB integrations, and it's proprietary to AstroPixel Processor, whereas in the last video I selected HA03 colour. Now that is actually more suited to multiple narrowband filters, such as the STC Duo or the OPT Triad, whereas because I'm using a purely HA filter and I want only that data to be extracted, I'm going to use the HA03 algorithm, but the extract HA version, and I'm also going to tick Force Baader CFA. So I'm going to go to the Calibrate tab, and firstly I'm going to make sure Adaptive Pedestal is ticked, and I'm going to reassign my masters to lights. Let's turn off that annoying noise. So while I'm here, a really good feature of AstroPixel Processor is you can see how your calibrated frames are going to look. So if I just load in an image, my computer's on a bit of a go slow, you can see it's suffering with that electroluminescent glow, or some people like to say it's amp glow, even though it's not, on that right hand side. Now if it was a 294 sensor, it might be in a different location, or different sensors have it in different areas. Whereas, so I've added my master flat and my master dark. I can go to L calibrated, and as soon as it finishes loading, all being well, that glow will go away. Not sure why it's taking a little while today. Any time today. Oh, here we go. And there you can see that glow has gone, the dark has been subtracted, and the flats have been divided into the frame, and so it's calibrated out nicely. So that's fine. So usually I'd go through this step by step, but I am literally going to jump ahead to the Integrate tab, and I'm going to weight it on quality, and because I've got less than 20 frames, I'm going to do a median stack because that would get rid of any outliers as well, and everything else is fine, and I'm literally going to click integrate. So you may have seen in my other videos I go through tab by tab, but you can just jump straight to the integrate tab and it will do all these being automatically. So I'm going to pause the video now and I'll come back when it's finished integrating. So that actually took less time than I thought it was going to. So here we have my integration 1. So the total exposure is 2,100 seconds, which if you divide that by 60, for 60 seconds in a minute, that's 35 minutes in total. So, as you can see, that's quite a good result. I'm going to just apply a bit of a moderate stretch to it. And all I'm going to do is click save. You can do some post-processing in AstroPixel Processor. The post-processing at the moment isn't great, but there's some very powerful tools for removing light pollution. I know that the developer is working on this section now that the calibration and stacking is absolutely spot on. So be exciting to see what he comes up with. So I'm going to save and move into Photoshop. I'm going to save as a TIFF file because I'm going into Photoshop and 16-bit so that Photoshop, I don't need to convert it in Photoshop. Okay, so there's our frame loaded into Photoshop. First things first, because it looks a weird, orientation to me, I'm just going to put it the right way up. And then I'm going to do a quick crop just to get rid of any stacking artifacts that there might be. But I don't want to get rid of too much because it's quite a good result. Okay, so if we have a look and zoom in, it's a little bit noisy. It's about as noisy as I would expect for 35 minutes worth of data captured with a HA filter on a colour camera, where only for every 4 pixels only one of them is red. So basically, if you've got a HA filter in the way, you are literally cutting it down even more. But on a camera such as the 183C, where it's quite highly sensitive and also it's got a high pixel density, as you can see, it works. It definitely works. So if I zoom back out again, first things first, I'm just going to do another stretch. And I'm just going to play with the curves a little bit. Just cancel. Quite a lot of detail in there already, but now I am just going to go to one of my favourite tools in Photoshop, which is the Camera Raw. So if I just change it to some RGB and go to Camera Raw filter, so sometimes I like to click auto and see what it gives me. That gives a pretty good result already. So if I put it back to default, I can tweak as I wish. So just bring the exposure up a little bit, increase the contrast, drop the highlights a touch, bring up the shadows, increase the whites a little bit, and the blacks. Now, I don't like to go too heavy on these. Just a touch of clarity and a little bit of dehaze. Click OK. You can see that's increased the noise quite a lot. So if I zoom out a little bit more, but you can see the level of contrast and detail in the image is still quite good. So now I'm going to go to my Define tool, Define 2. These are Nick tools, and if you do a Google search for them, you can generally find them and how to sort of install them into your Photoshop. So I'm just going to move this region of interest box to probably the noisiest part of the image. I'm going to make that manual. I'm going to select this measuring box. And then I'm just going to reduce the contrast noise. Increase the contrast noise. Increase the slider to reduce the contrast noise more. That probably makes more sense. Don't want to go too much though, because I don't want it to look false. So if we zoom in, that looks really smooth, too smooth for my liking. So what I would do now is, see the define level, define layer, I would reduce that down to about 75%, just to reintroduce some noise. So that's looking quite good, and then I would merge down. So I'd be quite happy with that image as a monochrome image, but basically you could then tweak, as we're in RGB mode, you could now tweak the levels and curves to introduce some false colour, or if you have some astronomy actions, here I'll just demonstrate one that I've got. I've got some of, they're called astronomy tools, version 1.6. I think they cost me about £10 for all these tools, but why not? If you're feeling lazy, you could run the black and white to HA false colour. and that would give you a false colour image. So that's this video over. Apologies for getting it wrong the first time, but hopefully this has put it right. And as always, like before, any questions or any suggestions or corrections, please leave me a comment and get in touch, and I'll do my best to sort it out. Thanks for watching. Bye.